Hey, it's Dr. Jarika Dodd in that yellow shirt. I am so excited because this is my third time going live today. But let me tell you what didn't happen the first two times. I did not go live with tears in my eyes. If you saw the post that I put out there today, the headline of the post says, Queens support each other. Um, and I'll tell you, hold on, looks like we're having some trouble streaming to um, one of our one of our places. So I think we got it together now. So if I'll start again. I'm Dr. Jarika Dodd with the yellow shirt. I've been on live twice today with two other sponsors of the Women in Pharmacy Nothing Held Back. But let me tell you, this live and she and we just vibe. We're kind of backstage before we went live, and we're talking about how we're about to go live, and we're talking, and we're just talking, and then she gets tears in her eyes, and I get tears in my eyes. So this live, we're going live with tears in our eyes because if you saw the post, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm pretty deliberate about the things that I say and that I share, and I'm not disingenuous. And so when I was reminded this morning that I needed to do a post for sponsors for the Women in Pharmacy Nothing Held Back virtual summit, Dr. Christina Fontana's post was scheduled to happen today. And I was like, I need to come up with copy. And I said, because she uses the word queen often, and I said, queens help each other in all caps, because I believe that. And that's when I thought about her, that's what came to mind first. And I said, queens help each other. And I just got finished saying to her, publicly or privately, and I will now say publicly, that, there will be people, and I think that there's a lesson. I know, Christina, you're like, what? She hadn't even introduced me yet. She's going way off in left field. So first, let me say, everybody, welcome Dr. Christina Fontana. First of all, welcome Dr. Christina Fontana.
Hello. Yes, no, I love hearing you. You're on a roll. Go ahead.
But Dr. Christina, I think that one of the things that you and I probably have recognized about ourselves, have recognized about women in pharmacy, have recognized about women in general, is that we tend to not ask for help. We tend to say, I'll just take care of it all myself. I'll just whatever. And I will say that I am definitely guilty of that in some regards. And when you came on and I was saying that I appreciate that since we met, I don't even remember who told us we should connect or how we even got connected, but I remember you were like, hey, I want to invite you to be on my podcast. And I was like, okay. And then the next thing I know, we got connected and I don't even remember how long ago, but it's definitely been several years. And from our dogs, like when that reminder on Facebook came up to say, oh my gosh, we had the pup pictures, pistachio, like all kinds, I think that sometimes we're blessed to have relationships where it's not equal. You want it, like that's why I said I was so in whatever I was doing when you asked me recently about sharing your information with what you had going on. And I was like, I want to do this for her because I want to do this for her. So I appreciate you in that anytime I have said, hey, we've got this going on over here, you have sent me a message and said, hey, how can I help? Can I offer something to give away? Can I, whatever? And even, the call when you reached out and said, hey, I see you're having this event. What can I do to help? How can I, what's a sponsor look like? I appreciate that. And that's why when I had to write that title this morning for that post, I was like, queens help each other. That's where that came from. So thank you. I know I gave you some flowers privately, but I also want to give you flowers publicly because this is recorded for infinity and people can see it. Tell me, yeah, tell me how you interact with women to get them to understand the queen in them, because
Mm,
oftentimes we don't always see that in ourselves. We don't always believe that about ourselves. Or if we have believed it or seen it, that glimpse gets overshadowed by life and circumstances. And so tell people so they know that you're
mm.
not just using the popular vernacular to be like, oh, queen, queen, because there is that.
Yeah.
But tell people what that word queen means.
Yeah, so this is a really powerful question to start with because I feel like for me, it represents two things. And I just did a post about this recently. Number one, um, it's representing your inherent worth. So I give every single queen, every single client a queen crown,
Hmm.
whether you come to one of my events, whether you're in my Elevate Entrepreneur Academy, whether you're a one-on-one client,
Hmm.
every single person is a queen. But whenever you say yes to that energetic investment in yourself, it's you taking your power back. And it's remembering that, like you just said, that spark of this is who I really am, because I believe every single person, every single woman is a queen. It's
Yeah.
remembering and putting that crown back on. So that's the first thing. Number two, God is my CEO. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, the crown chakra in the chakra system. That is literally the crown, right? You're connecting to the divine to get those messages to channel into your business. But if we have these blocks that show up based upon the beliefs that we've had, the things we've been told, the stories that we've created about ourselves, and the shame and the guilt and the things that we've held on to, that blocks your light from being channeled
Mhm.
into your business. And so the work that I do, I really am just an open book. And the way that I have people kind of start to go on that journey is I'm like, hey, my heart's open. This is what I've been through, eating disorders, and like literally everything. Being homeless, eating disorders, narcissistic ex-fiance, all of those things brought me back to who I am. And so
Mhm.
I'm not a victim to those circumstances. I've gone through this empowerment journey of getting my heart broken, being literally broken open to my divinity and why I'm here. And so my purpose with women in pharmacy is to awaken that queen within you. It doesn't matter if you're, functional medicine pharmacist, pharmacogenomics, whatever your method is,
Right.
it's starting with that beingness, right? It's unlocking the queen within you to lead you down the path of your passion into more power, into more impact. So that's really where it starts.
And I know that we talked about when we first met and how we were like, I really like I can resonate with you and I can resonate with you because I will tell you that as I meet woman after woman after woman in pharmacy, I am amazed at the I'm amazed at the way that our practicing our profession has caused or allowed or fostered many women in pharmacy. And this is not to slight the few good men. It's not, because that's my little asterisk for the event. This is not to slight the men at all, but I'm amazed at the number of women who have forgotten who they are, whose they are, and have basically allowed themselves and conditioned themselves to operate within a framework that keeps them really small. And this
Yeah.
is not a conversation about pharmacy versus not being in pharmacy. I really do believe that whether you're a pharmacist, whether you're a pharmacy technician, pharmacy student, whether you practice pharmacy or not, there is a place on this earth for you. There's a reason you were born. There's a reason that you're still here. And it's because there's something for you to either birth in the world, help birth in the world, or, serve in some way the world. And so I know that probably you and I are not likely the first people that analytical pharmacists think of when they're thinking about making a change. And so sometimes, when I'm talking to people and they go, "Oh, I want to be a consultant." And I'm like, okay, that's great. But did you wake up this morning and go, ooh, I can't wait to be a consultant? Or did you analytically make that decision and go,
Right.
I want to be a consultant because I've done this for this many years, and make all of that decision here?
Right.
Or is that a decision that came from your heart because it's something you've been, yearning or longing to do? So I know that even if there are the people who right now can't hear us, because I'm sure you would agree that sometimes when people talk to you, they are not ready to hear what you have to say.
Right.
And so, and so sometimes I know that I'm saying something that is so unpopular with the person I'm saying it to, but I know that maybe a year, maybe 6 months, maybe 5 years, they will remember,
She
maybe.
planted that seed.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, because like I said, I know that the average analytical mind is not really they are, but they don't consciously know that they're looking to run into a queen like Christina Fontana, a queen like Jerika Dodd. They're not looking for us. And then when they kind of bump into us, they're like, okay, I'll entertain you for a second. No, but no, that's not what I want to hear.
I'll come back to you in a year.
Yes. And I've had that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, and honestly, that's how my business transpired too. Like I went from being, a pharmacist and going through my residency to a health coach, right? That was kind of the next logical step of like really stepping into the healing work that I do now. So sometimes you just have to follow that breadcrumb trail. Maybe for you, it's like you start off, and I'm speaking to you as the audience, you start off in functional medicine and then you're like, oh, wait, I actually like hypnosis, or I like these other things that you would never, like 5 years ago, you would have been like, oh, who's that kook? Like, Christina Fontana, whatever. But I feel that your like a business is your spiritual awakening to who you really are. So you're going to be opening yourself up to these new things when you're open.
Yes.
So if you're open and listening to this, just be aware of like what's showing up for you. Like Jerika said, what is your heart actually wanting? What are you desiring versus, oh, what's going to help me transition out of my job so that I don't have to come back here again?
Right.
There's actually, because when you think about this heart energy, and this is the book that I'm writing with these other 19 contributors about, elevating into heart-centered entrepreneurship. It is coming from that heart space of
Absolutely.
what is my passion? Because when you bring passion and energy, guess what energy is? It's abundance. You are going to be attracting the clients who need your services. So when you come from this heart-centered energy, that's where you really start seeing these opportunities show up, the clients show up, the money, the abundance, all of that. So it's tapping into that part of you. And so sometimes it is getting out of your mind into the body and getting like stretching your comfort zone a little bit to say, what is it that I really want? What am I really desiring? And I know that's what you do with your clients too. Like what really lights you up?
Yes, because I know I'm a little older than you, and I have had, and I'm sure you haven't. That this my comment is more tongue in cheek towards myself, not you, because
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had experiences as well. But you have those experiences that give you perspective on life, and you realize that number one, I don't have time to waste. It was not too long ago that I had the conversation with myself and said, you know what, theoretically, I could have lived already half of my life. I want to live to be 100 unless God says something different, but I could have already lived half of my life. That's very plausible. And so when I think about it, just even from a practical standpoint, like I don't have time to waste. That's why I don't worry about what people say. I just like, I can't. And doesn't mean I'm not tempted to, but when I can't, because, or it's not good for me to, because I've got so much to do. I have so many people that I know I'm meant to impact. And so I tell you, one of the things that I was talking to Dr. Leslie Hodge earlier today, because she was talking about, technicians and her work with them. And I said to her that so many times, I think I think it definitely is something that women do, but I just say that humans do. We let our brain edit what our heart is saying. Our heart can
Right.
be crying out to do something, to be something, to embark upon something, but our brain will edit the script and be like, you can't do that. How are you going to afford that? Who's going to listen to you? I mean, our brains are definitely wired to quote unquote keep us protected. And so I think that, me even saying that the average analytical person, number one, because that's not how pharmacy school teaches us to think. So sometimes when people come into contact with us, they're like, no, not right now. But they will come back because I think that life and time they have their way of getting people to see a different perspective usually. So I'm grateful that there's a place, because I believe I have shirts that say everyone needs a pharmacist. And I believe that whether the pharmacist is actually practicing MTM or, practicing pharmacy, I believe truly everyone needs a pharmacist to do the type work that you and I do, to do the type work that other people who are in non-traditional roles serving the profession. Like, we only were taught to, if you will, and no slight to pharmacy school, like you can't be in there forever. They got to teach you what they can in the time.
Yeah.
We'd still be in there if we were still truly learning all that we could. But I'm so grateful that there are so many places where pharmacists can serve each other, the profession, that don't necessarily look like the traditional way, if you would. And
Right.
so that is why I do believe everyone needs a pharmacist in some kind of way or another. I want to make sure to highlight comments to you from another one of our sponsors. It's from Marsha Reach.
Oh,
From Stay Well Copper. That's what's around my neck. And she said she's looking forward to meeting you, Dr. Christina. She likes to call herself the Copper Queen, and she knows and respects the energy and intentionalness it takes to claim being a queen. She said, you're a God wink to so many.
oh,
Then
thank you.
she also gave another comment where she said, at the risk of aging myself, I did a live with Marsha a couple days ago last week. She said, I remember when I started my business in the early 80s and the fight I had every day, every single day, to have men even admit or acknowledge that I might know something or might have a thought in my head that could have value.
Have value. Yeah.
It's been a long journey. So you make my heart sing to see how far we have come. Hashtag community pharmacy and hashtag Queens Count. So I love that. And I wanted to make sure that we shared Marsha's comments. And thank you, Marsha, for tuning in. She's been with me like all day. She's like sitting and like, this is Jerika Dodd TV, because she's been on the other live. So I'm so grateful to have her. And yes, you will enjoy meeting her. And you'll love hearing her story. It's very inspiring.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dr. Christina, tell me what women in pharmacy need to think about when they start thinking about some of the things that we mentioned earlier, the situations that they're in, the limitations they've placed on themselves, the stories that they're telling themselves. Why would you recommend for a woman in pharmacy, whether she's a pharmacist, a technician, or even a student? The thing that I've been really surprised at is students and their outlook on what happens after they graduate, because they're watching the same job market, the same profession that we're already a part of. They're looking at it. And sometimes I hear anxiety, I hear anxious, I hear lots of anxious thoughts about, is there going to be a job for me? I've seen the residency melee. When I was a resident, I don't know about you, but when I was a resident, it didn't quite go down like that. Like, I don't remember all of that angst and feeling like I was not going to breathe again if I did not match. And then again, I had a different experience. It was a different time. It was a long, long time ago. And I matched with the first place that I had interest in matching with. So I guess all of the anxiety and all that it comes with now, it seems to be definitely a more competitive environment. So even pharmacy students I'm hearing are having
Yeah.
anxiety about the profession. What would you say to pharmacist, tech, or student about attending a conference like this?
So we talked about this metaphorical box, right? Of like retail, hospital, you only have these finite possibilities when in reality, and when we're in stress and survival, we only think we have these options. You
Yeah.
have infinite options. When
Mhm.
you have a PharmD, when you have a pharmacist degree in general,
Yeah.
PharmD or not, you
Yeah.
have so many gifts to bring to the world. And again, this is what I'm going to be writing about in my book, that I'm again co-authoring with these 19 people, these 19 amazing pharmacists. I want to show you that there are people from all different backgrounds, experiences, that you can create any type of business that you want and
Right.
elevate your gifts and open yourself up to create your own business, to
Mhm.
monetize your gifts. There's so many, and even if you want to do something that's not, like more non-traditional, but like maybe not entrepreneurship, there's so many other opportunities. So I would say to just be open. I think that's the biggest thing that I can say to anybody that's, whether you're a student, tech, pharmacist, whatever.
Mhm.
Be open to these conversations of people that are doing things in a non-traditional sense, because you never know. You might be like, oh my gosh, I love what Eureka's doing. How do I do that? And then she connects with you and you lead her down this path.
Yeah.
Just be open to however that shows up, because you will be led. And I can remember you talked about this before, and I wanted to circle back to it, about that voice inside of you that's kind of a whisper, and the mind is very loud. I had that when I was about to, because my dad was a pharmacy owner. I worked for him for years, independent pharmacy in Long Island. And I had this subtle voice, and I believe it was God's voice telling me, like, you're meant for more. And
Yeah.
I was terrified. I was so scared to leave because it was so comfortable. It was safe. I was going to probably inherit that pharmacy, but I decided to just really listen to that gut feeling and that whisper, and look where it led me. Right. So I think it's just, you're always going to have fear. Like I even have fear, sometimes going into the next level of whatever I'm doing in my business, but you're going to be okay on the other side of it
Mhm.
because you're always supported. So having that abundant mindset and
Absolutely.
following your desires, taking action on your desires, is how you expand into new realms of possibility for your life, for your business. And so staying stuck in that box is not going to serve you, because you
Yeah.
are a queen. Everybody watching this, queens, kings, all of you,
Right. Right.
there's so much that you could be doing. So just, follow your heart. That's the easiest thing I could say.
Absolutely. And I think that you make an excellent point when you talk about being open. When, I mean, when I look, I tell people I've been doing videos lately. And so when I do this, like I'm really intense now. This is the intense look. So when I think about my journey and when I, made the decision because of my health to leave my job, and I was like, okay, so I'm just going to have this pharmacy consulting practice. And definitely, I was not one who just said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, because that's how I had the journey of supporting my parents in their health and realizing how much patients need a pharmacist to be able to advocate and support and help them.
Right.
But I never had an idea of coaching anybody. I never had an idea of a magazine that much less would be about to celebrate 3 years. Are you kidding me? I never had an idea. Ah, yeah!
I have like 10,000 copies. I
I
wanted
know.
I wanted to surprise you.
Thank you. And I've got mine. They're under the little pile here. I never had if you had tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You're going to meet some of the most amazing women. You're going to feature the most amazing women in pharmacy in a magazine that is yours. You are subsequently going to release a special edition for the men in pharmacy and in different countries." I would have been like, no way. And so, like, you talk about being open that was not on my radar screen. I can't even say that that was like a dream tucked away in my heart that I was ignoring. I didn't even know it. But just being open and putting one foot in front of the other, because you know, and I know how pharmacists can think, or those of us who have analytical minds can think, that if we can't see the end from the beginning, then we're like, no, I need to have all the steps mapped out. And this didn't happen that way. It did, you know, like I think we were talking before we went live, and I told you about some of the big decisions that I've made, and I've made them with my knees knocking and my teeth chattering, but still said, I'm even this week, this is a big deal. And I, you know, maybe a little knee knocking there, but you make the decision and you rise to the occasion, and you're like, this is what I was made for, this is the next step, this is what I'm supposed to do. And even though it wasn't in your plan, I'm glad that I didn't know the plan, because if I had, I would have run the other direction and you never would have seen me in in the capacity that you do now. So I really love what you said about being open, because I think sometimes we make such judgments. No, that won't work. How will that, you know? But like when we just sit and go, let's see what's possible. That I think is the space where you do create. First of all, you realize who you are. So we've been talking about that. And then, second of all, you do create and you do become what it is that you couldn't even see that you were going to become or meant to become, because you're open to become.
Right. And I actually talked to Todd Uri about this morning because he's actually writing the forward of my book.
Mhm.
And he said, we were talking about this, how people, pharmacists want that evidence. Like you said, they want the exact formula. This is how much you add to this to bake the cake. And this
Yes.
is what it is. Entrepreneurship is a faith walk. That
Yes.
is the easiest way to describe, and you're not going to see. And that's actually a good thing, like you said, because
Right.
you would have never known, like
I would have run
the way.
the other way.
But you were being watered like the seed. We talk about, the blueprint of who you are is greatness. You're meant for greatness. So the more that you're open and you're like, oh, you're a little seed, hey, I'm gonna go out in the sunshine today and come to Jurika's event, you're getting watered, you're getting nourishment for your soul's evolution, for you
Yes.
to step into all of who you came here to be. And it is a faith journey for
Yes.
sure, because you're not going to see every single step.
And if you're, I had somebody, a pharmacist yesterday, that I was talking to, and I said, tell me if you could get one thing answered in these next, in these 3 days of the summit, what would it be? And she was like, I just want to know like the best way to be prepared. And I was like, honey, I'm going to answer that right now, but then I'm going to also answer it later and say to you that there's no physical way to prepare for everything that could possibly happen, go right, go wrong. There's just no way to prepare for it all. And
Right.
there are going to be some situations and challenges that come before you that you just are not prepared for. But really you are, and that what you know, who you know, and you will know in that moment, even though you don't feel prepared. And if for some reason you make a decision and you find out later, then even that will work itself out. So I think that definitely is, like you said, you want to know all the ingredients to baking the cake. And sometimes the ingredients are revealed one at a time. And it might be like, okay, put the flour in. And you're like, all right, flour's in, I'm waiting. How much sugar? Just wait. It'll come. And so I think that's because I remember my medicinal chemistry lab and all the tinkering that we used to do with the recipes and what have you. And yeah, that's what we like. So Dr. Christina, I am so grateful. And I want to let the listeners know that you will be able to interact with Dr. Christina and the other women and men who are part of this summit as sponsors on Thursday. So that VIP ticket is what you want to get. There are tech rates, student rates. So if you're a tech or you're a student, message me and I can get you, how to get signed up for a tech or student ticket, because I want everyone to have access. Dr. Christina will be there on, I said Thursday, Friday morning specifically for the VIP coffee chat with the sponsors. Like, she's going to be in the room because, and I know we've been out here on social media long enough that there are those people who sit like this and they watch us like TV and they're like, okay, what's she doing next? What's she up to? But here's an opportunity for you to not sit on the sidelines and watch, but to get in the room. And Dr. Christina will be there along with the other sponsors of the event and ask questions. If you want to ask her about what she's doing, if you want to ask her, what does it take? How did, to write a book or whatever you want to ask, these experts will be in the room and they're there. They've all agreed, those who are able, they have all agreed to be in the room so that they can answer questions, because this is not about holding on to information. It's about you being in the right place so that you can ask the questions you have at the moment so that you can take that and move to whatever's next for you. And just rest assured, those sponsors who aren't able to join us, they will be coming after. They are several of them, 2 of them actually had vacation already planned. So when they come back from vacation, they have committed that they will set aside time for those VIP clients to also interact with them and ask them questions. But it's very rare that you get this much knowledge, this much expertise in a room, and you can just come in and it's part of your ticket already. And you can say, hey, I want to ask a question, because I promise whatever question you have, someone else has it too. So I want to just give you a heads up that Dr. Christina will be a part of the sponsor coffee chat on Friday morning for those who are VIP ticket holders. And I'm very excited. Like, she made her schedule available to be in that room. So thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And literally, I'm an open book. Like, literally, my first book was about everything that, I went through with getting, kicked out of my house, all of that. I'm literally an open book, open heart. Ask me anything. I am here to be of service. So I'm really excited for that.
And so and then we have a comment. Let's see, this was put in by Jennifer Corey, who said her light bulb just became so bright. So thank you. Jennifer has definitely been on a couple of our lives. So we appreciate you tuning in, Jennifer. And for those who may see this on replay, by all means, put #replay. I want to just remind you that you still have time to get your ticket for Women in Pharmacy and a Few Good Men. Nothing live virtual summit. It's going to be 3 days where I will be talking about mindset on day 1. I will talk about building a business, and not you go with this to the Secretary of State and you register your LLC, but oftentimes pharmacists approach me and they're looking for things that they can do that they don't necessarily think intuitively about to earn money and support their families, because maybe they've been out of work for a while. And so it's my goal to help people who are definitely needing to get started moving forward now. And then on that 3rd day, we'll definitely be discussing marketing, because that's one of the things they did not teach us in pharmacy school. Again, no slight pharmacy school, we'd still be in there if they taught us everything. Nonetheless, the website is nothingheldback.live. Go to that website. You can get your tickets. You can read more about the event. And I can't wait to see you on Thursday morning. It's Monday and that's a couple days away, but it's going to go by so fast. So Dr. Christina, thank you. And I appreciate you being a queen who has helped this queen. I thank you for that. And I thank you for the gift of your friendship and your support. And I can't wait to see you again in a couple of days, because it's going to happen quickly.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see everybody at the VIP event and at the actual event. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on today.
Yes, thank you. And yes, somebody put #nothing held back. Yes, that is going to be the hashtag for the event that we're going to ask attendees to post and communicate with the world of what we're doing inside that room. So thank you so much, and I will definitely see you soon.
Bye.